Black Power. What's good, y'all? Right now, there are a lot of cases, actually four in particular, that are being shown to kind of send out a message. One of them regarding a young brother in Oklahoma. He just was granted clemency, so that's one case where they were looking to kill yet another person who evidence, suggested that very likely they were not guilty of what they were being charged. Was looking at receiving the death penalty, so fortunately that case worked out. But at the same time, they have a situation where they are about to release the two of the individuals accused of killing Malcolm X. In addition to that, they have the AHMAUD AUBERY case going, where there's a predominantly white jury with one black juror, and I haven't been able to receive any information on that one black juror. Is it a black juror? Is it a Negro juror? Because again, a Negro will get on there and just go along with whatever the flow is, or get on there and lead the charge to save the hillbillies. And then lastly, of course, is the Rittenhouse trial, where it's obvious what the outcome of that's going to be, y'all. Again, my disappointment in cases and shit like this is seeing how our people respond and react to it. From the gate, the judge has pretty much shown he's going to do everything in his power to make sure, a little psychotic white boy gets to walk. So, seeing how our folks are getting upset with them doing what they've always done and waiting till the actual verdict is announced to respond, again, just shows how our people are seriously dumbed down and misled. I was listening to something on one of the radio stations the other day, and people were saying, they hope. And again, this is the difference between how those people have managed to study and manipulate us, and we consistently see all the facts, see all the historical evidence of who, what, and how these people are, but yet we continue to rely on hope that they will somehow be different, and by definition, that's insanity. And that's not to negatively cast that on our people, but by definition, identifying that, our people have been suspended in a state of delusion. And again, that empowers those people to continue to dominate many of our people for as long as they do. But with all of this happening at the same time that these other things are going on, the inflation going up, folks not having access to food, we normally see these protests break out into situations where they then declare martial law, further limiting people's access to different resources, different needed resources. And again, all of this happening at the exact same time. And if you look at all of these cases, they're sending a message loud and clear, not only to Black America, but to all of the white fanaticals, that it's okay. It's killing season. It's time to get out there and do what they do what they've always done. And those who get caught, go to court, will very likely get support and not be held accountable. So, the message is loud and clear, loved ones. And again, that's why we encourage y'all to do the intelligent thing to get yourselves prepared. Even out here in LA, we've been seeing white extremists come across those freeways more and more. They mostly go downtown, but even throughout our communities, at different hours, we've seen instances where they are bold enough to flash on us. A few years ago, they attacked the Crenshaw Wall, but around that same time, there was an incident on Vernon where a white cat ran some brothers and sisters over in his car, and other isolated incidences in the area. Because again, with this housing situation, as they're building these developments and saying low-income housing, affordable housing, whatnot. They're bringing white folks from the west side and other white areas to reside here while they take our people further east. The other day, we finally were able to meet with some representatives from Hopics. They came out. We got about 14 people signed up with them, and they basically told us they didn't really have too many services. They, one, don't provide permanent housing. They don't provide Section 8. The hotel vouchers, they said they can only do 5 of those at a time, and all 5 of their positions were taken. So the only thing they really had to offer were what they call a bridge to home program, which is basically a shelter. And again, with all they're saying about how severe this COVID situation is, that's all they can continue to provide to our people, put them into these overpacked shelters, is not a good thing. And then there was also what they call the safe parking program. So again, for our communities, they don't have any Section 8. They don't have hotel vouchers. They don't have permanent housing, but they'll throw folks into these shelters, and they'll give people who have a car that's mobile a parking lot where you can go sleep. And the brother straight out told us that, either of those programs can take 6 months to 2 years before people get placed into housing. So, that's basically the crumbs they're offering us. And again, white people ask that the housing situation in our community is getting worse, because a lot of folks go into those programs and say it's basically like jail. So, they rather be out here where they can have their freedom and maneuver and do what they do. But again, as they're now saying, they're going to start, or they have started restricting areas where people can sleep overnight and criminalize folks for that. And the only other option are these shelters and safe parking. That ain't resolving the motherfucking problem. So, just an update on that. And again, with all these court cases going with the inflation, potential martial law coming in response to any protesting that may start, creating a very threatening situation for all of us. And just lastly, an update that we've gotten this week on the whole African market situation. So the past few weeks we have been sharing how we finally sat down with reps from CD10, and they were saying how they wanted to relocate the market into the parking lot pretty much behind where I'm at right now. This is the beauty college, those of you that are familiar with it. But they want to relocate the Sunday market back there come January after King Day. So at the beginning of this week, we received information that the street repairs they had told us are going to start in January, basically ripping up Degnan from 43rd Street to 43rd Place. We received a notice from the Bureau of Street Services that the street repairs are not going to begin until October next year. So the council office is saying it's going to start in January. This notification from the Bureau of Street Services is saying it's not going to start until October. So I reached out to a person in CD10, left a message. They called because I didn't have their number locked in. I didn't identify their number. I didn't answer the call. They left a message, let me know they called. So I then called that number and basically left my number again, letting it be known I wanted to talk to them because it's conflicting information. So instead of calling me back, the person then called another person and shared that he is actually over the street repairs that are scheduled to take place, and that he assures us that January the street repairs will begin. So assessing everything that has happened to this point, assessing this most recent conflict of information, what it appears like to us that's going to happen Like they said, in January, they will very likely begin to tear up the streets, but more so like the Bureau of Street Services notification says, the actual repair of the streets won't begin until October next year. So where we were initially told it would take 6 to 8 months, the Bureau of Street Service notification is saying it's going to take 10 months. So from October next year, it will take 10 months forward from that. So that will put it until October next year is 2022. 10 months from that will put the repair work going until August of 2023. So basically, the move they're saying they want us to make in January with work that is potentially going to take a year and a half now, based on this most recent information, it ain't acceptable, y'all. And again, another thing, after really analyzing these ongoing games and the information, the other serious thing we see is that by removing us from Degnan, and as we were saying, if the market was to go into the parking lot, it would null and void all the permits we've gotten to this point. So the thousands of dollars we spent, several vendors had, food vendors had to get health permits. The ones that paid for a year, they paid like $500 each. So I believe that was like at least 5 of our vendors. And then other vendors that paid for different permits. So once our permit becomes null and void, that leaves it wide open for Juneteenth. And as we were sharing with y'all last year, one of the things they tried to fight us for was to have control of our Sunday to make a 2-day Juneteenth event. And the merchant that they use, Tony, the individual who has what they call the Merck Park Rising, who are the primary organizers, you know, he lied to us in an attempt to get our permit. He at the last minute swindled several of the vendors out of additional funds that they were not to pay, and wasn't going to pay them back until, you know, I raised about a month ago. You know, he hadn't given them any updates as to, okay, yeah, you know we owe y'all money. We'll be paying y'all as soon as we can. What's up, Brandy? That's my sister, y'all. Love you. But yeah, they hadn't given us any of that. So now here we are once again with a situation where our permit, very likely they will try to revoke, and they will then open up the opportunity, allowing Tony to step in and take control of Juneteenth. So, you know, this shit stays switching up. It stays, unfortunately, conniving, you know, behind the back ass motherfuckers, lying nonstop. But here's what we're saying: permit or no permit, whoever name is on any permit is not going to swindle, bully the vendors who have built this Sunday market. Anything that takes place on Juneteenth will be organized and ran by the people who have come together to build this market. We saw last year, Tony and his team was very irresponsible, negligent. They try to, you know, say mistakes, bullshit. Because again, when you intentionally lie to folks, that's not a mistake. When you try to hold on, but not try, but when you hold on to that lie for a month and a half, that's not a mistake. When you fail to reimburse people money that you negligently charged them, those shits are not mistakes. But again, all of this shit is consistent with the displacement of the type of vendors that they don't want out here. Last year when we started this whole process of restructuring this market, one of the things we kept telling everybody, no amount of compliance will be good enough for those who are trying to replace us or displace us. Again, there are billion-dollar entities that want this space. And it's clear that different politicians and others have bought into the gentrifying of this area. And one of the points our brother Damien of downtown Crenshaw brought up on his meeting last night, the sickest part of this, the black folks that are selling out, it's not like they all sitting down making $1 million deals. A lot of them are selling out for a couple thousand here and there. You know, they are so caught up in the moment, they're so caught up in their individual pettiness, they don't understand the bigger picture of us holding this space. And just like they did with the mall, as they try to block as they have temporarily blocked downtown Crenshaw from buying that mall, Negroes prefer to take a very small percentage and allow this white boy to buy the damn mall at a lesser price. Downtown Crenshaw raised $115 million. They blocked them. Other black people blocked downtown Crenshaw from buying the mall and turned around and sold it to the white boy so he can give them a very small percentage of that. That's the sickness of our people, who they continue to find to sell us out, to misguide, misdirect, mislead our people. Same shit we're dealing with this market now. It's becoming very clear that there are a lot of behind the backdoor conversations taking place that have intentionally led to a lot of vendors not even wanting to come out no more. You know, a lot of the original vendors, I've slowly been able to catch up and talk to some of them, have shared with me why they're no longer coming out. And in large part, it was because, as we shared with people, the compliance that is required with this permit, again, would drive a lot of folks out. That's how they drove a lot of our other black-owned businesses out, gas stations, the liquor stores over the years, as we have been out here pushing back against these Korean-owned businesses, Armenian, Russian, different people that are coming, Arab-owned businesses, and we've been finding out the stories of why we've lost a lot of businesses in those industries, cleaners, all types of businesses used to be black-owned. We found it wasn't just because people mismanaged what they were doing, but just like the vendors out here coming under attack, those businesses came under attack through enforcement, citations, the city attorney running different campaigns on them. What's up with you, brother? Different nuisance laws were used to drive them out. But the exact same thing we see happening to the vendors right now to try to run them out of here, same thing that has happened to a lot of our businesses that are gone. So, yeah, we are letting it be known that whatever the outcome be with this tearing up the streets, this trying to force people to shift here and there, people are coming out on Juneteenth regardless. You know, we saw that not this past summer, but the year before, because the main reason for that response was, one, due to COVID. People have been stuck in their homes for a couple months, and then two, because the protest broke out, and young folks was like, fuck that, we not staying in the house, we coming out. Juneteenth represents black liberation, and that's why they came. And Tony just happened to be one of the people that were in position at the time to reap the benefits of everything that was going on. But unfortunately, this past summer, he showed he don't have the best interest of the community. So going into this battle that we gonna go into for the next November, 7 to 9 months, as they're saying, the street repairs are gonna take. But again, with the most recent information we got from the Bureau of Street Services, that supposedly they're saying the actual repairs won't begin until October next year. So why is one group saying it's going to start in January, which we very likely believe they will go on to tear up the streets, and very likely have made deals with a lot of the businesses to give them what's called business interruption funds, while at the same time giving nothing for the vendors to survive. And, the hope of having the market relocating to the parking lot, then they could pick and choose which businesses they will bring out of the parking lot and let them set up on the streets. Because get close to Juneteenth, I guarantee you we'll see some streets be resurfaced and enough of the sidewalks be paved to where folks can come out. You know, again, they see Juneteenth as an opportunity to bring in all these corporate dollars and shut down a liquor store so they can sell $10 cups of beer and liquor and all this, that, and the other, and basically capitalize off of this as opposed to making it a true community event and make the opportunity available for everybody. That is one of the problems a lot of folks in the community had with this past Juneteenth. We saw the same thing happen with Kwanzaa a few years ago. Our brother, our elder brother Akil, who had done Kwanzaa since, I think, going back to the 60s, early 70s, the turn of the millennium, a few of the local Negroes saw the opportunity to try to take it over from him. They denied his permit to have it where he had been having it right here on Degnan and 43rd Place. So again, they pushed him over to Lemert Boulevard, somehow got in contact with all of his vendors, brought his vendors over here, brought in different corporate sponsors, and afforded themselves the opportunity to capitalize on Kwanzaa. You know, it failed after a couple years, and Akil's still doing his. You know, that's what happens. The real gonna stick with it and continue to do it, but it's when they come together and they try to use their you know, political influence, capital influence, and bully the ones who have really maintained and supported the community out of what's rightfully ours. So again, that's basically what we're saying at this point. Whatever shenanigans they got going, whoever's behind our back, selling out, doing this, that, and the other, it's going to be revealed in time. We got suspicions based off of things that have happened recently. You know, who all is in on the tape. You know, it ain't too much of a question no more, seeing how there were attempts to recently block us. You know, just like downtown Crenshaw was blocked from a very legitimate effort, we were blocked from taking part in an official position of an organization we helped to form with the vendors. So, you know, time always reveals what's really going on. But those of you that have been supporting to this point, moving forward, we most definitely going to need y'all, and not just with this marketplace and vending situation, because as they're turning up on that, they're turning up on all levels, y'all. The more I've been driving around the city, again, just seeing more of our folks out here in the cold, homeless. They have these new ordinances where they are allowing themselves to come out and harass, intimidate, terrorize people. And like I said in the beginning of this video, we finally met up with Hopics, and they really don't have nothing solid to offer people. The only two options they were really providing to people was, one, what they call a bridge to home, which is basically a shelter. And with this COVID situation, on one end, they'll tell you straight up, that's not the situation to be in. You know, it's dangerous, it's deadly. And last year they were even saying, you know, folks was dying in that shit. And then it's what they call safe parking, where they have certain parking lots where people can go park from, they said 7 at night to 7 in the morning. And again, that forces instability. Anytime you have to constantly move because it's being demanded, required of you, that creates instability. That's why they constantly gentrify. They allow us 30, 40, 50 years to be in one area. As we become successful, they constantly uproot us, force us to another place. And that's what we are really fighting at as we look to maintain this space. It's not, again, just because, oh, you know, LA, Hollywood, all that shit. No, for a lot of us, it's home. But it's to also finally end this constant displacement, y'all. That breeds part of the mental health everybody wants to talk about. When homes are constantly broken, when people are constantly forced to worry about where they're going to live, how they're going to pay rent, what they're going to eat, that stress also leads to mental health issues. So it's not just that reacting to that shit and having mental health counselors and specialists come out after the fact. Is discontinuing the shit that's creating mental health issues. So again, you know, thank all of you. Your comments I'll go through real quick. any information you want to be shared, please reshare it once I end the video, because once I end the video, it's going to erase all of your comments. What's up to everybody that joined? Appreciate y'all. Fuck Tony Jolly, fuck Quest. They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, most definitely. Black Power. Love you too, bro. Love you, sis. Big time. You know what I'm saying? In times like this, y'all, that's all we got. The folks that's really out here in the spirit of love. Because all of our prior revolutionary greats shared, that's the spirit that black liberation, that revolution is really done in. Out of spirit of hate. All this individual, hateful, narcissistic shit that they've cultivated in many of our people right now is to lead to our self-destruction, to lead to our demise, lead to us sabotaging each other, because that's been the mind state of all the Judases in the past. If you really study, I went and I studied some more this week. If you really study all the Judases from, if you read the Bible and all that stuff to more current, contemporary Judases, all of them were narcissists. Whether they were, what people would refer to as subtle narcissists or more sociopathic and psychopathic narcissists. But that's what they have cultivated in our communities, especially since the early 70s when they sought to kill the mental evolution and the spirit of our people in the 60s, in those black power struggles, in the civil rights struggles. Replacing Huey Newton with a Superfly, replacing wanting to join the Panthers with wanting to join a gang and be a predator on your people. Now, not saying that all of our brothers and sisters who took that route did not wake up and do some incredible things, but in general right now, if you really listen to the radio and even in my news feed today, I was saying how I'm not familiar with this newest cat, I believe his name is Young Dolph, another young entertainer that was recently murdered by some other people. But again, that's the culture they have engineered into us, as opposed to where we were prior to the 70s when they started with all this black exploitation movies and music and all this other bullshit. So those of you that weren't locked into that, salute, respect, love all of y'all, because right now that's what it's gonna take to get us out of this shit. Save this live. Yep, most definitely. We'll try to do that if they don't delete it. What's up, Timo? All the way from Zanzibar, Stone City, Freedom Dancers. And just lastly, y'all, those of you that see this that can support us financially with the market, because again, that's something else they imposed on us now that we also see another one of their goals and hoping we lose the permit is these prices. The money that we're being forced to pay every week, the extortion they are forcing us to pay every week. And again, they've managed to find funds to help everybody else. Even in the meeting we had with them a few weeks ago, they said if we relocate into the parking lot, then they could find funds. But between now and then, they couldn't find funds. If we go over to Lamert, they can't find the funds. And again, it makes even more sense now that we understand a lot of these moves are being made so they can put the permit back in the hands of Tony Jolly for Juneteenth next year. What's up, Ram? So no real question this time around, but once I end the video, y'all please share it, especially if you know folks in the community, in the area. A lot more folks are starting to pay attention, asking how they can get involved. And the main thing, y'all, is pay attention, because at this point, as we shared numerous times, those of us that are on the front line, we got targets on us. We don't give a fuck, but yeah, we got targets. We are fighting billion-dollar entities, y'all. And just like in the past, how they've paid our people to go against us, sabotage us, eventually they'll start paying, folks to try to assassinate us. And, as we shared a few years ago, the Cambodians right down the street on Vernon and Western offered a brother 9 pieces of chicken. and he started passing out guns to his little homies to shoot us. So if there's people in our community that will do that shit over 9 pieces of chicken, and you got these billionaires offering them a few punk ass $1,000, you know, it's a fucking pathetic ass situation, y'all. We in $1 trillion city, and niggas will sell out for a couple $1,000 fucking dollars because they don't get the bigger picture, because they too damn weak to stand in the bigger fight. But you know, unfortunately, that's where we are. Those of us that are fighting, I know we're gonna be successful. You know, if we fall, just pick up the torch and keep going, y'all. Keep going, because that's how we win. Love y'all. Black power.